Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the ultimate Final Fantasy podcast. I am Joe.
I am Caleb.
And today, ladies and gents, we are going to be reviewing Legend. Oh, the oh so legendary Legend of Mana.
Yep. How long did this one take you to beat?
I sent you the time in the chat. I can't even remember. It was like 12 hours something or 14.
I think it was like 13 or so, yeah.
Right
in the middle
dancing
of those
around those numbers here. Now I'm looking in the chat desperately.
Yeah, not a super long game, for sure.
No. So we're back pretty soon after we beat it. Schweiss, had you heard of this game before?
Yeah, I owned it. But no, not really.
No, not really.
I've heard of it in so much as I saw it one day, and I was like, hey, that looks like a rare Square game. I should pick it up. And then, I never, ever played it. Because I read the back of it, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, it's talking about placing, popping your stuff down on the map and all this shit. Yeah, I can go grab it.
Well, my total time on this thing was 14 hours and 8 minutes. I don't know where you were at. I guess you'll tell me after you get the thing from your shelf.
Yeah, so it says, it says, all right, create your world. In ancient times, the world was saved from destruction by sealing locations and events within magical artifacts. Now you have the chance to recreate this world as you desire by discovering artifacts, placing them, and exploring the mysteries inside. Construct a unique world map and story by carefully placing artifacts. Didn't do anything carefully. Explore areas in any order, encountering nearly 70 different gameplay scenarios. Battle enemies in real time with special attacks and customizable controls. Control every aspect of your new world. Raise faithful pet monsters. Create powerful golems. Forge mighty weapons and refine magical instruments. Adventure with a friend by having them import their Legend of Mana character from a memory card or take control of an NPC.
Is yet once again another multiplayer experience we could have had that we
just didn't. Yeah, well, it's annoying because now you're back and it's like, could have done it, but that's all right.
Yeah, it's all right. We can move on from this one.
It's tough to get time for that kind of shit anyway, and if we're going to, this one's probably not the... I'm not going to lose any sleep, but we're not playing this multiplayer.
No. What was your final time?
Oh, man. This is going to be embarrassing. But I'm pretty sure... I'm going to pull it up. Okay. I know I took longer than you. And it's a lot longer.
Well, I have come across this game only in game stores before.
Yeah.
So just seeing it on the shelf, though, so much... I just assumed it was like this big classic game, which it does turn out to be a big game, but
yeah,
classic is questionable on that one.
Yeah, 20 hours, 33 minutes. That's all I took. Yeah.
We'll talk about why. Definitely, because we definitely had two very different approaches when it came to playing this game. So Legend of Mana. I have some development information on here. It was the first Mana game on the PlayStation, so the PlayStation 1, and it was also the first spin-off title in the now long-running Mana series.
Yeah. We weren't sure how to approach these ones, because this one, the next one, and then the last one are all spin-offs, technically, and then Dawn of Mana is the only other, technically sequel game, right? So
there's a Mana that's only come out in Japan that we don't have, that we're not going to play. It was originally a mobile title and it was ported to the PSP. You were talking to me about it the other day and I had dismissed it totally before any of this even happened.
Yeah.
But I did find out that game, Blank of Mana, I can't remember what the hell it was called, that game did not count. But the next one is Children of Mana, which is on the DS, which is another spinoff. Dawn of Mana, which is the one after, which is the sequel to... It's the last main series game that has come out. And then Heroes of Mana, which is the final DS title.
Yeah, which is... I looked at the back of it, Have you looked at it?
No.
It looks like Revenant Wings. That's what it is.
Really?
Yeah, it's another RTS thing.
Oh my God. So we've been playing these mana games, these first three, Final Fantasy Adventure, Secret of Mana, Trials of Mana. Very similar games. All three of those. They're just kind of like upgraded versions of the previous game with different stories, of course.
Yeah.
This one's definitely a different approach.
Yeah, this one feels like a spinoff. It really does. It takes a lot of the stuff that the other ones had, and it just kind of demolishes it. It's weird.
Basically. So this was released on July 15th, 1999 in Japan and June 7th, 2000 in North America. It was directed once again by series creator Koichi Ishii and Koichi Ishii, I should say, with mostly new staff filling in for the rest of the development team. Except for like a character designer, I think, was taking over as well.
Yeah, his name sounds like a special move for a Dragon Ball Z character,
doesn't it?
Ishii. Yeah, or like Street Fighter, maybe.
There was a new producer brought on board to kind of head the project. His name is Akitoshi Kawazu, and he has been the one credited for the radical departure the game took from the Mana series. The music this time was composed by Yoko Shimomura of later Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy XV fame. The soundtrack includes the song of Mana.
It sure does.
Sung by Swedish vocalist Annika Ljungberg. With a funny little caveat there, I believe our Swedish listener told us that it was a song in Swedish, but the game never came out in Sweden, which was pretty funny.
No one will ever understand this song.
Yeah. So that was that's a funny little thing. I didn't check on that Swedish thing. I just remember him saying the joke there in the chat before, and I was like, oh my God, that's hilarious. It was originally envisioned as like a normal 3D game, but because of like the vision of it, Koichi Ishii wanted this like crazy vision of this project. They couldn't use PlayStation's hardware to make it happen, so they opted for like a different look, like a enhanced 2D look for the whole game.
Yeah,
and this is a quote here. Kawazu initially let Ishii have a relaxed schedule and budget, as Ishii had a great number of ideas he wanted in the game. But when the project began to get out of control and out of time, Kawazu tightened down the rest of the development schedule and convinced the Square executives to delay the game by 2 months, even though it had already been announced to the public to allow it to be completed as Ishii envisioned.
Man, I wonder if the vocal or the soundtrack person, she's just cursed. Every game she touches gets delayed.
Gets delayed 2 months. That's not true. She had the fucking soundtrack for 15 done before the trailer came out.
We don't know.
As far as I can tell.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. the greats in that game were definitely out.
So this game it was a big release. It had, when the game came out, it had demos to a bunch of upcoming big, huge Square games like Chrono Cross and stuff like that. I didn't write them down, though. But it did have an unusually large amount of merchandise made surrounding its release, including plushies, necklaces, and lighters, and a 5-part manga adaptation that concluded in 2002. Yeah.
Is it translated?
No,
okay.
Not that I found or care. Okay, those who pre-ordered the game.
I guess we've never done a spin-off.
It's an adaptation. It's not a sequel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're not. There's adaptations to FF2 and
That's
stuff
true,
out
yeah.
there. Yeah,
we won't touch.
Yeah, something like we already had the story. We played the game.
Yeah.
Those who pre-ordered the game in North America received a free soundtrack, which must have been nice. Did you have a soundtrack in yours?
No.
Okay. And it was a pretty good financial success. It sold over 700,000 copies in Japan alone before the end of the year 1999.
Wow.
Yeah. Didn't give me final sales numbers anywhere, but that was the number that it came up with.
Well, you assume over 1 million then. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I assume it did at least 1 million. However, critical response was lackluster compared to the previous Mana games. Notable exceptions to the criticism included praise of the look of the game and Shimamura's soundtrack, which Shimamura herself credited as being the game that best expresses myself.
Oh.
So that is my information I have on the development of the game. Let's get into the story.
Now, what the fuck happened in this game?
Well, that's a good question, Twice. According to Wikipedia, so Legend of Mana, quote unquote, is set in the fictional world of Fadil. The mana tree, the giver of mana and life of the world, burned down almost entirely 9 centuries prior to the events of the game. A war erupted between fairies, humans, and others, seeking the scarce power of mana that was left. When the war concluded, the burnt mana tree slept as it regrew, and the many lands of the world were stored in ancient artifacts. A hero, controlled by the players, is self-charged with restoring the world and mana to its former self. So you're given a silent protagonist at the very beginning of the game. It's either a boy or a girl. I picked a boy.
Wait, were they? I thought they were both girls.
Maybe they're both girls. I don't know.
I don't know which one I chose.
I wrote down boy or girl. I wasn't researching that shit. That was me. So I could be totally wrong. He did seem like a boy. Sorry, I'm assuming here on the gender.
Yeah.
I know. He did seem like a boy on the home screen, but whenever it was in the dialogue, he had very long flowing locks that would not be classically male.
Yeah.
So maybe you're right.
I don't know. I just thought they were both girls. I could be wrong though. It's hard to tell because they don't have
It's a silent protagonist with no name.
Yeah, and it's also they don't have like a face shot in the same way. I mean, you kind of do, I guess, but it doesn't really. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe I should have played this on a full screen thing. I was playing it on a PSP.
Maybe.
And then you're basically given like a house with a plant and just an open world to explore that you make as you go along. It's kind of like Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 2.
Yeah.
In that, or it's 1. Whichever one of those advances it had you like pop in the new place that you find.
I don't remember which one.
I think it might have just been Advance.
It might have been.
Yeah. So there are various quests and storylines that you come across to help out with. Basically, you help with the storyline. First area you're given is Domina, which is just a little town. And every time you help with the storyline, or a lot of times you help with the storyline, you're given an artifact. You're just given like an item. As far as I can tell, I don't know how it's supposed to work in the real world of Mana, but I don't know like the contraption or like what does the world look like around his house right now? Is it like mist? I don't know. I have no idea like how this is supposed to work in a real world sense. It really just seems like a game.
Yeah.
But he's given like things like a screwdriver or whatever, and then like you're on the world map, and then you have this like open grid, and then you like put the screwdriver on the world map, and then it blossoms into an area like a beach or whatever.
Into a beautiful 24-volt drill.
That's right. No, it'll turn into an area in the game.
Yeah, it's
that you can then go and do other quests in if you so desire.
It's really weird. It's like the weirdest thing I've seen.
It is weird
for a game. And then apparently the best ending, you have to place the map things down in a certain way. And I'm like, who the fuck would figure that out?
There's a lot of things when we get to gameplay under the who the fuck would figure that out tag. Yeah. Yes. Hashtag who the fuck would figure that out.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy shit in here.
A lot. Including the story itself, which is nothing really. It is just really you going and completing quests, you getting these items at the end of the quest that then expand the world on the world map that you can then go explore and do more quests of. And these are just like little side quests. They're like little stories. where like someone has a problem with a thing and then you got to go solve it as the silent protagonist.
Yeah.
Usually you have to go through a little area where you got to fight some enemies. Maybe you have to do a puzzle. Maybe you have to get like one item to another character. Maybe there's one character who's randomly jumping around a fucking map and you got to like wait for a ghost to appear. Or someone's having trouble with someone's trying to romance someone by having their lamp business succeed better with these dub speaking little, I don't know, plushy looking doll characters out on the map that you gotta then translate the dub language to.
Yeah.
In order to get the lamp, oh my god, in order to sell the lamp to these fucking creatures, in order to have the romance take place, in order to, in the end, the romance doesn't work, but the lady's business is thriving thanks to your protagonist. Things like that. Just random fucking quests all over the place. There is no overarching story. There are, however, there was one overarching story that kind of let us open up the ending quest to the game, which was the dragon storyline.
Yeah.
According to the Wikipedia write-up, there's 3 stories having to do with this.
Oh, and we both got the same one. Huh?
And we both got the same one. So the 3 stories, one had to do with these creatures called, as far as I could tell by just reading this, because I didn't remember any of this in the actual game, Jumas and their sacred jewels.
Oh, yeah.
Does that ring a bell?
I remember the Jumas.
Okay, so that was actually something you did. That was one of the main quests.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was weirdly anti-Semitic, but it's kind of funny. Like all they care about are their jewels in the game, and I'm like,
Jooms.
Easy now, easy with the Joom hate. They gotta live somewhere.
The other story was having to do with stopping a war between humans and fairies. That was caused by like some some love triangle that didn't work out. I have some vague reminiscence of some love triangle thing happening in a level, and I'm mostly remembering the gameplay to the level. I'm not really remembering the story.
Yeah.
Running around having to do with that. But the one that we both did had to do with Lark and Sarah. There's a quote, brother and sister dragoons who serve different dragoon masters fight on opposite sides of the same war for power. Lark serves the dragon Draconis, who wants to kill the other 3 dragons so that he can rule the world. Lark blackmails the game's protagonist, and I was like, oh my god, this is another going to be one of those switches. Like, you know it at the beginning. It's not like a surprise.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm going along with this guy, and I have no choice because I'm just playing a game right now. Lark blackmails the game's protagonist to help him with his quest. Sierra, a dragoon for Vadis, the white dragon, wants to stop Draconis without hurting her brother Lark. In the end, Draconis is defeated again and banished to the underworld, and Lark is killed. And do you remember what the bad guy looks like in that
Yeah, he looks
quest
like
line? He looks like a child, like a 4-year-old child dressed up as Jafar for Halloween.
Yeah.
That's how I would describe it.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, there you go. So that you basically complete one of those 3 quests to the very end and have enough other quests done in order for the ending to pop.
Yeah, and essentially what happens in the very end is there are these creatures called seedlings that mostly just get in your way when you're trying to walk somewhere.
Yeah.
And they're just little like sprouts. And then in this world, every plant is kind of connected to the mana tree. They're all like, the mana tree is like the source of life pretty much. So it's the Yggdrasil. It's like the ultimate tree, and everything that's alive is kind of like connected in some weird way. And so one of the plants goes missing near the end, and everyone tells you, the other seedlings, they tell you that he has gone off into the other dimension to become the mana tree. And so it is kind of like, it's weird because they want it to be like Yggdrasil, you know, where there's like the multiple worlds and shit like that. There's like the worlds of the giants, the frost world, the shit like that we played in God of War. It's kind of, it like tries to toy with that, but I think bad translation and laziness made it not really work out. And so they just kind of brush off the fact that the tree went to some other dimension to become the mana tree for all dimensions. But that's pretty much what happens. He goes in there, and then you go to the mana tree, and you fight the final boss in the mana tree. He's trying to corrupt the tree.
Yeah, the mana goddess has become corrupted, and the tree is rotten. The player is then forced to fight the mana goddess after winning a sproutling's plant. After winning a sproutling plant, sorry, this is my write-up, plants itself in the mana's rotten trunk, calling upon the other sproutlings to join them, and then they restore the mana tree, and then the game ends. Mm-hmm. So there's not... After having gone through a pretty linear one with Trials of Mana, although I admit I didn't remember the story for that one either, this one's just straight up. It's a side quest game. Yeah. That's what this is. It almost felt like a mobile game in that sort of way. It's just like, we got a bunch of side quests, and then you choose your destiny as far as like everything that you experience in that game. It's literally just a game. Obviously, you got to do one of the three. Like, I would call those three quest lines are obviously quests that connect to each other, and the other ones don't.
Yeah.
And that's really the only thing that defines those as like the main story. The main story really is your protagonist is just doing favors for everybody until the sproutling stuff happens.
Pretty much, yeah. And after you beat the dragon quest line, you do just have to dick around for a little while, and then it starts to trigger the quest.
Yeah. So
I just went to a bunch of random places for a bit, did some things, came back, and then it was like, oh, hey, we should go do this thing. And I'm like, oh, this is probably the end. And then sadly, I had to go to work, and then the next day I came and I played like 30 minutes and I had a beat. So
nice.
Yeah, it's weird.
So it's just a side quest mini story driven game, I guess, because it's not really that like heavy on the gameplay either.
Yeah.
So it's a weird one. Some of the those critiques of this game were mentioned many times that its non-linear storytelling was a detriment to the game, as far as like Famitsu's review and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I kind of agree. There is, however, a certain type of gamer that would probably be up for this kind of thing. I don't know. I never got roped into it. I did about 30 quests before I decided to like pull up the guide that would just tell me how to get to the end as fast as possible, and I did that because I just got bored with it. I got sick of all these like little quest things and getting lost in these dumb areas. Like, yeah. I got pretty sick of it. So eventually I just like went for it and was like, whatever's going on, I don't care. And then I beat the game as far as the story is concerned. So I really didn't care for their approach on this one. I could have used like one overarching thing or at least better gameplay to go along with it. But yeah, I don't know. How did you feel about the story?
It's pretty non-existent. I mean, it definitely, the way the game is kind of a detriment to the story, just with the way that I couldn't tell which storyline was the storyline half the time. You know, like I got the one with the princess and her like guardian, and I thought that was going to be the main one. I
thought that was going to be the main one too. But when I started the game, I was like, oh, it's these two. And they show up a couple times.
Yeah, I did like 3 quests for them, and then they just disappeared. And I was like, oh, I thought those were the ones. So that part's kind of, I don't know, as far as the story goes, that is kind of weird. And it's certainly different, but I think that it does, the way this game plays kind of does dampen the mood for the story. There were some cool characters in there. The fortune teller in Domina would give you hints on your quest. If you went and talked to her, she would tell you like what to do.
Oh, that's cool.
On a quest that you have. I thought the Gilbert guy was funny. He's the what are those things called when they're like half man, half horse? The
centaur?
Yeah, he's a centaur, the like romancing centaur.
Gilbert's the one with the romancing on the lamps, right?
Yeah, and then he goes, there's another quest you find.
My God. There's a great clip out there because I laughed during this part when I played the game. It's probably the most enjoyment I got out of the game. It's when she was talking about like the lamp size.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty fun.
So there's a lot of like innuendo in a lamp side quest that made me laugh pretty hard. And there's a great clip on Twitch of Schweiss playing that section. And I'm over the Discord chat talking to him at the same time, and I'm laughing my ass off while he's doing the fucking voiceover work. So I suggest you go check out twitch.tv/Ultimate Final Fantasy.
Yeah, there's some good stuff there. I thought it was weird that like the Dragoons looked like My Little Pony characters, like especially the girl one. Didn't you notice that? Like she looked like a pony to me.
I didn't even think about that. No,
it was really weird. I was like, are they ponies? Are they unicorns? Or are they dragoons? Like, I don't know. And yeah, I thought the Lark storyline was cool. I mean, it wasn't that bad. He had like a little. He was kind of a double agent. You know, he was trying to get back to his sister. And then, so like the only way to kill it was to kind of release Draconis and then beat him, but Draconis killed him instead. So it's kind of, I
did like having Lark in my party. It was a nice beat stick.
Yeah. I would always go grab the guardian, the princess's like dude. I'd grab him alive or Lark whenever I felt like it. So that was kind of cool. The weird, God, did you watch the intro song? Like the weird like weeb like drug dream thing with the
weird
music on
weeb drug dream intro.
Yeah,
I did see it. I immediately forgot it after.
Oh man,
I was just like, okay, weird, and then moved on. And I had to watch it again after you were like, "Did you watch that beginning and how weird it, like fucking weird it was?" And then I watched it. I'm like, "Yeah, it's weird."
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect from the Mana series. I mean, we're almost done with the Mana series, and I'm still kind of like, I don't have my mind wrapped around the fucking world. Like,
yeah, it's not very well fleshed out.
There's a tree. There's magic.
Yeah, the tree's the source of the magic, and people want to destroy the tree to kill the world. That's pretty much it.
There you go.
Just
fairies and shit.
Yeah, and weird little bunny creatures. Yeah, I don't know. I did beat the final boss in one try, though. That was pretty cool.
Congratulations. We'll talk about that at gameplay. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
The final boss was pretty cool looking. I don't know if he added much to the story, but you know, the game.
I thought all the dragons were cool looking in that Dragon Quest.
Yeah, they were. And yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird because it's almost one of those games that it has a story, but it's really not meant to be story driven. It's supposed to be about the gameplay.
No, but it's not really about the gameplay either. Like it was there were so many little quests. They were all little quests with a lot of dialogue in it. With all these little characters and their little like tiffs they're having with their neighbors. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's all gameplay, but that is certainly like, I guess that's all you can really talk about. Like,
yeah, it's almost like MMO side quests, you know?
Almost.
Just go talk.
I was thinking earlier today when I'm like, what the fuck am I going to say about the story of this game? I was thinking, okay, there's a type of player out there who enjoys Final Fantasy XIV storytelling.
Yeah.
They might be okay with this game. They might like this game in that aspect where they're like exploring the world and exploring all the little dramas of these people. And they don't need like a good spine in there pulling you along, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe.
That's fair, yeah.
But let's talk about the gameplay.
Let's do it.
So, this game is a hack and slash RPG. It's really just taking the whatever remnants of the Final Fantasy stuff it had in there from the previous 3 games and it chopped that away.
Yeah.
It's on this weird 2D plane. It's almost like playing Paper Mario where it's like kind of 3D, kind of 2D. Like there is an X-axis, but it's very flat.
Yeah.
And It's all like pre-rendered areas with this like interesting, intricate artwork to it. Kind of anime-esque, kind of a mono-esque artwork to it. That kind of gives you an interesting environment in which to play the game, but it almost plays. Oh, you know what it plays like? It plays like Final Fantasy 15, A Knight's Tale,
the beat 'em up one.
Yeah, the beat 'em up one.
Yeah, it does kind of play
a little
like
bit
that.
like that. Yeah, it's just like a side scroller, hack and slash with whatever weapon you decide to choose at the beginning of the game, and then hopefully pick up something better because you're not going to figure out the fucking weapon crafting system whatsoever. And then and it's you go through. You get into these battles. They're really not that difficult at all. The difficulty level in this game is very low. It's the lowest in this series by far.
And if you die, you can just retry.
That's right. If you die, you can retry. I think the only thing that's difficult about it, or the only thing that's annoying about it, is that you get when you get into a game screen, I don't think there's an escape button.
No, I didn't find one.
I couldn't find one to save my life because believe me, when I had to redo some floors and some dungeons, I wanted an escape button like no other mother. There's usually about a save point in the middle of these areas. There's something like 20 screens in each area, like 10 to 20 screens.
Yeah, except for that goddamn tower.
And you're that's the one I had to go through. That's the one I was complaining about.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a really simple game. It really is just attack, evade. You have specialty moves that build up in a bar, just like with the other mana games. And you wait for those. You also have like combos with your other characters as well in your party.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the gameplay right there. There are some weird in-quest puzzles that I fucking hated. Mostly just, there's two really. There's one where you do have to learn an entirely new language, and then another one where you have to move these motherfuckers on this map. And I was following a guide for this fucking quest, and it didn't matter. The guide, I swear to God, was wrong, and I did eventually. I had to figure that out on my own, and I was crying. It was so bad. There was this area where there's like, in the middle of this area, there's a game screen with like 4 fences or 4 gates, and you have to open up all the gates. And in order to open up those gates, you have to go into other game areas. And you have to like push these guys over right or left. And there's 4 different gates, right? So you have to make sure that they're in the right order for you to solve the puzzle. It is obnoxious.
Yeah.
That fucking quest is just it's horrible.
And the whole time you have to fight everybody you run into.
That's
also.
right.
So you
no
can't just run
away. So you're hacking and slashing through all that stuff. So yeah. Gameplay is real simple, and it's a pretty damn easy game. So I don't have that many complaints or frustrations. Obviously, I had some frustrations.
Yeah.
The biggest frustration I have has to do with weapons, which we can get into for sure. So anyway, that's in the things that aren't explained section of the game.
Yeah. I think the gameplay in this is really cool. I like the idea of, I kind of like the side quests, and I like the, how you built up your home base by finding people. You do a little quest for a blacksmith, and then he joins you. You do a quest for like a golem maker, and he joins you. Same thing for the forging magical shit. I don't remember what that one was, but you find these people, and then they come back to your base. It's not as cool as Suikoden. When I played Suikoden 2, that's like the whole game is you collecting people and like bringing them to your base, and you can like plant food. You can grow like a garden. I'm like, this is so fucking cool. This one's not nearly as cool as that.
You get to grow a garden. You're right. And you get to get items from that garden that you're growing. So you get seeds throughout the world that you pick up.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really a garden, I guess. But then you give it to the mana tree at your place. Yeah. And then he sprouts new items for you that you can then use to craft, apparently. And
Never once planted a seed.
And then really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then there's also when you fight a boss, if you go back to that same area that you fought the boss in, you'll find an egg, and you can collect creatures as well.
Yeah.
You can have your own little Pokemon stable or whatever the hell that old game was called.
Yeah, it's that, or you can go back and you can find one of the summons and you can play them music, which is so bizarre. It's such a weird fucking game. Like you have to craft instruments to then play music for the summons, and then the summon gets close to you, and then you stop the music and you like touch them, and then they drop a bunch of items, like magical pieces of them. It's like their element, and then you can use that to forge weapons and stuff like that. Yeah, so I had a bunch of those, but I was like, I don't get what these are doing. Like you can go into the stats page, but you would have to know what creatures drop what items, and you know that you needed that item to make this upgrade to this weapon, and it's very intricate. And
Okay, so what the game tells you. So, all right, so that's the gameplay, right? Hack and slash, very simple hack and slash.
Yeah.
Plus there's shit you can do at your home base. And then with that shit you do at your home base, you can then craft weapons and armor or improve weapons and armor.
Yeah.
But the game, get this, does not tell you fucking shit about how to craft anything in that game, and you look up how to craft in this fucking game, you're gonna get a 1.5 hour tutorial on YouTube, or fucking dozens and dozens, maybe even 100 pages worth of a tutorial on another fucking site, because no one except the nerdiest of fucking nerds has figured out how to craft in this fucking game.
Yeah.
So you might as well just pick up the best weapon that you accidentally find while you're questing around, and that's just going to be your weapon, because the game's easy enough for you to just beat it that way.
Yeah. It's one of those problems where it's cool, and it would be cool for it to be necessary, and then maybe we would have figured it out, but it's not necessary. It's like, God, it's like
or maybe it could give you some clues instead of just like flashing tarot cards in your face every once in a while when you go, but God, we'll get it too.
Yeah, the fucking, so it reminds me of Chocobo Tales, the super fun DS game that, you know, you had the card game, and it was like, oh, you can go collect all these cards, and it seemed, you know, it was cool, and the mini games were fun, but like the reward for it is, you know, you get more of the cards, but there's no one that you can't just beat without those cards that you're going to go, you know, spend time to earn. So it's almost like the weapon system reminds me of that. It's very intricate, and it seems like it'd be really cool, but you don't even need to use it.
What it is like, oh my God, when I was looking around at forums, because I think I spent 3 hours trying to figure out how the weapon system worked. So just think about my gameplay time being 14 hours and 8 minutes, and how much more time I would have to spend just to figure out how the rest of the game works.
Yeah.
And you know, how much it would actually be worth. I saw people, they were like, yeah, I was able to get my spear up to like 200 attack.
Jesus.
And when you were like, dude, I figured out, when you were texting me, you're like, dude, I figured it out. I got like a 25 attack hammer. And I was like, not according to these forums. You didn't figure out shit.
Yeah.
You didn't figure out shit. You figured out probably what I figured out. You had a better item when you threw it on there. So anyway, there's a quest in this game where you like have to talk to this weaponsmith guy, and he eventually becomes your weapons guy. And there's like a workshop in your home that you start off with in the game. And he just basically tells you can craft here if you want.
Yeah.
And that's the instruction that you get. And all these random fucking items in these games, many of which, if you combine them, apparently, in the precise right manner, in the right order, so they get certain invisible point combos that you can't see but are in the game code, that will then level up your weapon with a nice little tarot card flash and improve your stats greatly on many different stat points, you know, strength, defense, whatever. Yeah, you don't get any instructions as to how that works. You don't get any sort of like when you're in the crafting menu and you're just like throwing shit on your sword to see what sticks.
Yeah.
There's besides a random image flashing when it tells you that you leveled up a certain stat. It doesn't give you any sort of acknowledgement as to what the fuck you're supposed to do at all. It's nowhere in the game.
Yeah.
People have just maybe there was instructions in the strategy guide when that originally came out. That's what I'm guessing is like how anybody figured this out ever. But yeah, the game has absolutely no. It's insane just how impossible that is to understand.
Yeah, and I got the tarot card flash like once, I think, but
I got it quite a few times. But it would lift like one
stat a little bit.
It was one stat, like the Dryad stat is what I would get all the time. So, and I just threw everything at the sword.
Yeah.
Like I just like had a bunch of items and like it's gotta do something. I raised my strength by like 1.
Yeah.
And my Dryad stat, so I knew I would be able to do harm to sticks better, like to
green
stuff better, because they're elemental properties to your swords, of course.
Yeah,
naturally, and you would know that if you play the game, idiot. No, and I assume it's the same with the armor. I didn't try the armor because I got frustrated with the sword, and the fact that like. No one except a guy with a 1.5 hour YouTube video, which I put at 2 times speed and tried to get through. Believe me, God, I tried to understand this thing. As far as I can tell, if you want one of those good games, just go online, look for a recipe, play the entirety of the game, because that's how long it's going to take for you to get all those nice items.
Yeah.
Play the entirety of the game, and then you'll be able to go back and get yourself a super sweet weapon on New Game Plus. And then you can just smash everything to bits as you're going through. Of course, the game also isn't difficult, so what's the fucking point of that?
Yeah, it's one of those things where, it's nice that it didn't.
It feels unfinished.
Yeah, it's nice that it didn't kick my shit in, but at the same time, there's all these things that you can make that you don't need to make because it's just easy, I did make a golem, though. I had a golem following me around at the end.
I had a duck.
Yeah.
I had a duck follow me around. I never made a golem.
The army hat duck thing?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he was easy. He was an easy monster to go grab.
Yeah.
And he became my pet, and I was like, you're just going to be my pet the whole time. Also, the experience in this game is fucking weird. You have to go pick it up. It's Fable, and the other guys can like go step on it. Like Lark stepped on my experience so many times. Dude, I got mad at Lark quite a few times after those bosses. They'd give you the big like experience drops from the enemies, and I had to go like pick it up. And that motherfucker was walking around picking up like 3 of my big crystals. I'm like, give me that. Of course, I don't even know if that experience gives me stat bonuses. I have no idea what the experience actually does in this game.
I mean, I did
because it really felt like it was a consistent level of non-difficulty the entire time. Except I got like when I was going further into the game, it felt like my attacks weren't doing as much.
Yeah.
And then when I got a better sword, that's the sword I ended with. I got a sword. I picked up a sword on accident for 36 attack, or 32. It was on the lower 30s, and that's it. That's what I went through the rest of the game with, and it made the final boss difficult. I could have used a weapon with like 40.
Yeah.
And I say difficult, kind of difficult. This game's not really that difficult. I just had to like be more careful. But yeah, it's just like it's a hack and slash RPG that's really simple, has another complex system that it doesn't explain, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think mine had like 52 attack, my axe. So it was slower, but I don't know. The way the bosses worked, like the speed I was willing to give up for the bonus attack because they move around a lot and shit. And so I'm like, yeah, I could do more damage per second probably with the dagger, but they're like hopping around and like moving, and then they go into like untouchable states when they're doing their attacks and shit, which is really kind of dumb. Like in the game, they're like, when they're attacking you, you can't attack them. And it's like, well, basically they're just standing around while you're kicking their ass. And then they start moving, and you can't hit them when they're trying to hit you. And it's like, who would do that? This just seems ridiculous. So yeah, it wasn't very hard. And I did upgrade my axe a couple times, I think. But yeah, there's that, and you can look at the stats, and you can look at, you can piece together what items make what stats go up. But as far as like the hidden element thing, I have no idea.
No, if you put, apparently, this was what I got. This is what I gained from that 45 minutes of that YouTube video I watched. Because it was easier to like take in than the reading, because the reading was like some fucking fuck ass nerd putting down information on. And he like assumes that person assumes a lot of things about your knowledge about that game. Not unlike the shit I ran into when doing Vagrant Story, by the way, as far as the background information on that.
Was there like an underground toxic community that made fun of you?
An underground toxic community of I don't
phantom pain
hardly. But almost. It was almost that it was worse. The difficulty level of parsing out what the fuck that system was about was worse, because this was the point where I was getting frustrated in the game because my weapon wasn't good.
Yeah.
And I just like did another quest and luckily ran into better weapons. But yeah, that's oh my God. The whole thing. It's like, why I don't know. It just, the gameplay feels unfinished to me. Like, it's fine. The hack and slashing is fine.
Yeah.
It works okay. It is what it is, kind of a system, but it has nowhere near the enjoyability of the last 3 games in the series in terms of gameplay, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then the other systems that could have been cool, like the crafting, if it was a more required thing and it was a little bit more spelled out, hopefully a lot more spelled out, actually, then that could be something that would have been an interesting addition to the gameplay and maybe would have made the questing more fun, or at least more rewarding to get items and then like know what they're going to do for your weapon.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a system in this game that is, if you put this item, then this type of item, then this type of item, this type of item of this type of elements together in this succession, in a certain succession, I don't know what it is, then there's some sort of like invisible multiplier so that when the sword levels up, you get a bigger stat boost.
Okay.
And there is no possible fucking way of knowing that in the game. No way. Some nerds figured it out. Maybe the strategy guide had something.
Yeah.
But there's no way. Not that I could see. Unless there's like a side quest way down the road that neither of us did that explains the whole system.
Yeah, there might be. I don't know. I think the actual fighting is not nearly as fun. The combat's not nearly as fun in this one. It seems kind of like it went back a step, like it is more JRPG like. It's less actiony in the way that it's executed, in my opinion. It's slowed down a lot, the actual in-game combat. And it's weird because it has some of the problems that Final Fantasy Adventure had with the hitbox. You've got to it takes a minute to get used to fighting in this game.
Yeah, the physics aren't great.
Yeah.
The hitbox, is that what you would call that? The range of your X button and where it matters.
Yeah. It's way reduced.
Yeah, it's not great. In fact, I would say like Final Fantasy 15 A King's Tale is better in that respect, in terms of this sort of fighting plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't love it. There's not much about the gameplay I could be positive, Schweiss.
I do really like the quests. I think it's really cool to have a bunch of little quests like that, and a lot of shit to do in the world. So I really appreciate that, and it is like a very unique game in that way. It's not as cool as the way they did Suikoden, but it's a very unique idea that kind of detriments the story. And I don't know why they made the gameplay the way they did, like the combat. It seems clunky. It seems like we're back to Final Fantasy Adventure clunk, like it's very unfinished when it comes to actually fighting things. And it's like, it's not really fun. The getting the special moves with your weapons are cool. And you have like L1, L2, R2, R1 as like the you hit them, and that's when you can do your special move. You can customize that. Each weapon gets at least 4, I think, special moves, and you can use those in various ways. But I don't know. Yeah, it's easy, and it's also kind of clunky, and it's not very fun to be in battle per se. Like the boss themes and the boss designs are super cool, but like it's just you'll be like slightly off, and it looks like you're hitting him, but you're not hitting him. And you're like, come on,
that happens all the time. There was like a boss where I had to like hit his knee. It was one of the dragons where it's like, I guess the knee is the only area where this dragon could be hit from, and it's like this weird angle.
Yeah, and like, when I'm doing my axe attacks, it's like it takes a second, and then I swing, and then it's a miss, and then of course I do like it's a combo thing, and so she just swings at nothing for a second, and I'm like, God, I don't know, it just has some serious clunk, and thank God for like AOE attacks. Or else it would have just taken even longer.
Thank God for Rising Eagle or whatever mine was.
Yeah.
I would go up and then he would like throw sword beams at a certain area and they would hit pretty well.
Yeah, I had one that was pretty cool where like axes like flew out of me in every direction.
Oh, that would have been nice. Yeah.
Did a lot of damage because Flying Eagle sucks when you fucking accidentally turn around and shoot it at nothing. Like,
that would happen every once in a while.
Yeah, because of the clunk. It's like because you're moving a little bit, or like you want to walk away so that you get everybody in frame, but you didn't pound the fucking button back again to where he turns around and you just Flying Eagle nothing. And you're like, come on.
Come on.
Fucking kidding me? And it's not like the last one where if you miss the special move, you get the special bar still. No, if you miss it, you're just shit out of luck. You don't get it back. You got to earn that shit.
So yeah, I do agree that the questing thing is interesting because that is more of a gameplay thing, but the whole game is basically side quests.
Yeah.
And so if you're a person who likes a bunch of side quests and you kind of like that storytelling way and exploring the characters, like I said before, you might enjoy this game. You might have a good time. But the gameplay is that special, like the actual like fighting. I mean. Yeah, there's a lot of frustrations with this game, man. I'll be honest, I'm having trouble like saying like hardly anything positive about it.
Yeah.
There was a certain point, so, and I'm not that kind of game player, by the way. I look towards the end goal and I go towards it, even if I'm not playing it for a podcast. I'm kind of that way. I'm not really someone to like fuck around in the game too much. And so yeah.
Unless it's a fuck around game in which you
this is a fuck around game.
Yeah.
So I started the game like normal, right? I played the game. I went into like the Domina area and I talked to people and I figured out the first 2 quests, I think. And then there was just like one point where I was like, I don't know who to talk to anymore. I don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
And I was just like, fuck it. I'm pulling out the guide, and I followed that goddamn guide.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll do every quest. And then I got bored. 20 something quests in, like 28 quests in. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I'm looking up the speed run quest guide for this thing. What quests do I need to open up in order to open up the ending? And then I just went through and did those. Oh, that's honestly like my experience with this game was pretty deep boredom. There are a couple positive aspects of this game we'll get into.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it is. I do think it's fun, the side questing stuff, and going in and not looking at a guide made it fun for me because then it was about the exploration. And I think I'm more open to that kind of a game. It's weird though because like it's not like the other game that I do this in is Conan Exiles, right? I love talking about that game. And that game is a good version of just fucking around and like figuring out the world and figuring out everything else. And you're interested, at least I am, immensely interested in that. But then this one, I'm like, there was a fucking quest where the cactus walked off and like threw away an old broom. And I like went to the junkyard to find the broom. And I went through that junkyard like 15 times. And I was like, dude, I'm not fucking doing this. I'm leaving. And I left. I was like, fuck your broom. The kid can deal without his dead dad's broom, I guess. I don't know why that was the memento that he had from his fallen father, but it was. And it's like, it does just get tedious, and it's not that interesting. So At a certain point, I was feeling like, oh, I'll do as many side quests as I feel like doing, and I probably did around as many as you. I think maybe even less. I don't know, but it just got to the point where I was like, I'm not really having fun with the side quests. Like they're just kind of fetch quests, go do
which is the game.
Yeah, which is the entirety of the game, and I just lost interest because there's no reward per se for doing those quests. Like there are little things that you will get, but if there's not a great strong baddie to knock out, then it's why do all the extra stuff? It just feels excessive, you know.
Yeah, there's no super boss at the end of Vagrant Story to make you figure out all the intricacies of the fucking game, are there?
To really test your will.
test your might.
Yeah, no, it was easy, and I don't know. I think it's a really cool concept, but I think the execution fell a little bit flat.
Yeah, there are a couple positive aspects I want to get into with the music and the graphics, the art. This is a super unique looking game.
Yeah.
So in terms of the graphics and the artistic design, I think that's probably this and the music, I think, are where it shines. So this kind of faux 3D, 2D mixeroo that it has here, where it almost looks like pages of a very intricate looking manga, I guess is maybe a way to describe it. I thought that was cool, like the pre-rendered backgrounds, like some of the creatures, like the tree creatures that talk to you,
yeah,
and the animation there I thought was really cool. It gives you like this crazy sort of dreamlike landscape that you don't get from the other three Mana games because they're more kind of normal top down, 2D games, but the ones that we played so far. But this kind of had like a super unique look, and I could see like that mixed in with the music, which is Yoko Shimomura, not the composer of the previous entries, which of course they all had fantastic soundtracks in their own way. But this one brought in like that kind of extra Japanese fantasy, whimsical mood to the whole thing, so that a certain type of player who's maybe enjoying their time more might be able to get kind of lost in that world. So that's something I really appreciated. I really enjoyed the look of the game, and to another level, I also enjoyed the music of the game. I love Yoko Shimomura's music, so
yeah,
this is no exception.
I don't like the art style, but I like the way they made this game look. Like I don't think it's appealing, but I do think this game looks really cool. And it is that pre-rendered kind of faux 3D world that you occupy, and it looks really cool. And it's extremely unique as well. One of the things that I thought was really cool was the boat level, when you go onto the boat, and like the way they made the screen like move to show that the boat's rocking in the water. I thought that was super cool. They basically just like took chunks of the boat, and then they like moved them over pixels, and then like moved it back, and like the way they did it, it just looked really cool. The tree, while stupid looking, the animation for the tree was really unique and really cool when he would talk.
The tree's stupid looking.
Yeah, I think he looks dumb, which is why it's weird. It's like I don't like the art style, but I do like I do like it at the same time.
Is it the mood? The art mood? Is it the...
I like one of them, and I don't like the other one, and that's where I'm kind of at with the game. I do think it looks really cool, though, and it is
it's definitely artistic.
Yeah. It sure is. I do like the soundtrack quite a bit, too, as I have with all of the games in the Mana series so far. I think they all have great soundtracks thus far. This one's not nearly as weird as Secret, but
this one's like a hangout. The whole game is like a hangout mood piece. Like it's not really a game. Like it's not really like a story. It's not really a game.
Yeah,
it's like
it's just a thing.
It's hanging out in this world and doing these random quests, and you're just kind of... I think the art and the music is really what you're in there for. It seems like this Ishii guy, had like a vision for this game, and this was his vision about this like crazy world. and you exploring it, and that's what you get is that. You're not getting one of the more linear things that we got from the previous 3 mana games. I think, the music is a huge part of that, and the art, of course. So I think those are probably the biggest positives about the game, is that kind of superficial music and the look of the game are great for what they are.
Yeah.
Especially like 2000 era.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah.
And it sounds great too. I just think, I don't know, man. Overall, I do think this is a cool idea for a game, but I can see those development problems, like when you were talking earlier, the game getting away from the creator and like it's kind of getting too big, and needed to kind of rein it in to get it finished. That's kind of how the game just feels to me. Like it feels like it's a project that's bigger than it could have been executed on the PlayStation 1, and it kind of suffers for that. I think it's a really cool idea, and I do think it's a cool game, and I liked playing it, and I looked forward to playing it just because of how different it was, and doing those side quests and finding people that come back to my place and throw their workshop in my home. And finding the raising the pets and getting those leveled up. It was kind of cool, but it was, I don't know, it just seemed kind of, it was like a game. It was almost like a first draft of like a bunch of ideas that you could go with, and they just went with all of them. It doesn't feel very refined to me.
Yeah, I agree with all that. So I do have, we have a business opportunity in the Gmail. Schweiss. Ooh. No, but before that, we have one, it looks like, Legend of Mana review, kind of, from a listener on the email. If you could check the Discord and the reply to the Twitter, that'd be great, Schweiss, while I read this.
All right.
So this is called Legend of Mana Review, kind of, by Justin. Hey guys, Black Mage Justin here. It's been a long time. Hopefully you guys are doing well. I am doing well, thank you. I hope Schweiss is doing well too. He doesn't want to respond.
Fine.
He's doing fine. Okay. I couldn't help but notice you guys are reviewing Legend of Mana. Hopefully I send this in time. My time with Legend of Mana is short, but I remember renting it for the PS1 from a Blockbuster years ago. Oh, God, Blockbuster. And really enjoying my time and how the story would progress through placing these geodes down. And depending on where in the world map you would place them would affect the geode. The geode? Am I reading that right? Okay. Well, is that what it is in Legend of Mana, or is he just remembering it in a weird way?
I think he might be remembering it in a weird way.
Because they're just like artifacts. This game also forces you to talk to everyone, which is something I have never been good at in real life or in games. But I remember coming across this quest that was like chasing your shadow or someone dressed as you. It's been a long ass time. And I was so excited to chase this motherfucker down. I took a day off from playing it and went back to FF6, and then I realized, hey, you know what? Maybe Legend of Mana kind of sucks. So I scratched the disc, returned it to Blockbuster, and rented FF7 again. Rambling and nonsensical, but it's a time I won't forget. I've been meaning to get back to the game and give it an honest and fair chance. I look forward to seeing what you guys think about it. I'll be the deciding thing, basically. It'll be the deciding thing, basically, for if I go back or not. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. Black Mage Justin, and here's Johnny Podcast Guy, in case you forgot. Haha. But I'm not here to shill my stuff.
Liar.
Yeah. Please check out the Joseph DeGollier special on that. Here's Johnny Podcast.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, I guess we saved you the time. If you're going to base it off of what our recommendation is, we don't have to worry about that. I
guess so. I think I did have a short review on Twitter. Did you check the Discord?
I didn't see anything on Discord.
Did no one reply to that thing? I thought some people had some questions.
Where did you put it?
In the UFF questions area.
Okay.
Okay. So real quick, let me check. Sorry, I should already have this.
Oh yeah, we had what is mana from Matunica.
Is that the only question we have?
And then who is mana? Why is Gamora? But the girls love that tree.
What is mana? It's the food of God given to the Israelites for them to feed off of in the desert, I believe. It's been a while. Who is manna? Come on now. It's a tree. The tree is manna. The manna goddess is manna. As far as who, why is Gamora? I don't understand that question whatsoever. But the girls love that tree. But they do. Why is manna? So that
Square gets some money.
I just wanted to edit it so that.
We got one after the mana stuff is done. Is Chrono Trigger is next, right? And then the guy says he's just afraid that one of us is going to get a car accident or something before Chrono Trigger finally happens.
I mean, we have gotten in car accidents during the show.
We haven't died, but
yeah, no one's died yet. But if that happens, don't worry, the show will end, and you'll never get Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, maybe one of us should die just to make sure that it never happens.
Okay, I got one review here from Brandon J, who replied on my Twitter post. Big game from my childhood. Always come back to it for the soundtrack, and thought that all the different things you could do, like craft spells and raise monsters, were fun, even if those features weren't exactly well designed. Combat, always meh. Fun with a friend.
Yeah, I bet it would have been more fun together.
It probably would have been more fun together. It probably would have been like a nice mediocre game we could have at least been making fun of at the same time, instead of just like sitting there in silence in your little box at work and playing this game that you're not enjoying that much.
Yeah.
For 2 hours stints at a time.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, there's the reviews, the legacy of the game. It seems to be something that people look back on fondly, those who played it, but honestly, I don't really know very many people that played this thing. I owned it, but I never...
No, we didn't get that much response from our audience either, which is weird because it's like a big JRPG thing, and it was a big game too. It's not like it was a little game.
Pretty successful.
Pretty successful. I've seen its artwork all the time in game stores and stuff like that, and I always just assume like that's a really big classic Square game.
Yeah.
And it is. It's just not that well beloved. Like, it was a big game that was okay, it seems like. Which is really, like, as far as my takeaway would be, it's like there's better Square games for you to choose from in that respect. The final boss was not even that difficult. I don't even think... There's a New Game Plus that automatically pops, so that's great. But yeah, I don't really think it's that. I don't think this game's gonna stick in my brain for very long at all. As far as what we've played here, mostly the art design and the music are the things that I'm gonna be taking with me, and I think that's what most people are gonna remember anyway. Maybe the lamps side quest, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. The translation had some weird, janky parts in it. Like some of the names of the quests were just like weird and like
they just
wrong.
Seemed a little weird. Right?
Yeah, so it seemed like they had it translated like overnight, like really quickly, and that might have been part of the problem with the crafting system. I don't know, but
we are getting a remaster here soon.
Yeah, it's supposed to come out in June, so a couple of months away. They love toying with us.
That's right,
bastards at Enix. Like, oh, you want a remaster? Well, it's going to come out after you're done, so screw you.
I mean, I don't know what's at the top of my list to pre-order, Schweiss. This or Crystal Chronicles remaster. I can't choose.
Yeah.
I'll just pick neither.
I already got I think Crystal Chronicles is already out.
Yeah, I think it is too.
I haven't played it. I bought it, though. I bought it so I can get the theme.
You didn't want to play it, Schweiss? I'm so surprised.
I'll probably play it with Jake or something. Get the trophies.
Yeah. This might be the least enjoyable game I've ped on the show for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, for like a long while. Decity NT was probably the last bad game. But guys. That's where I don't... This is a well-known game. Its legacy is probably one of a mediocre game, which is what it is, and I don't think that it's really worth going back and playing for you guys who aren't completionists. So skip this one, buy a Trials of Mana instead.
Yeah. I guess Famitsu ranked it 48.
48th of all the PlayStation games.
PlayStation 1 games.
This is a pretty big hit on PlayStation 1. They did that to poll in 2000. I saw that thing. Number 48. Number 48. That's pretty low.
Is it just PlayStation 1?
Yeah.
Oh, that is pretty low. And I was like, I mean, yeah, there's 47 other better games on the PS1. I could agree with that, I guess.
Yeah. I haven't even played 47 more games on the PS1, and I can agree with that.
I just know.
Like, there's got to be like a half dozen games or a dozen games out there. Like, I've probably only played I probably played a dozen games on the PS1.
Yeah, to completion.
Not even that, I don't think.
Jeez.
I've probably played. I mean, I could just count them out loud here, but I won't. So there's gonna be like another chunk of games I've never touched, and I know that there's gonna like quite a few of those are gonna be better than this game.
Yeah.
Number 48 of all the PlayStation 1 games in 2000.
I mean, there's like 3,000 PlayStation 1 games, so.
Yeah, but when they're doing those polls, you know that they're not even going to think about those little like junker ones. Like you got Hooters Road Trip 2 behind you right now, right?
No, just the first one. I don't think there's a sequel.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's the Dukes
Hooters
of Hazzard
Road
2.
Dukes of Hazzard 2.
Yeah.
PlayStation game. I forgot.
Yeah.
Just think about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, number 48. Sure. Why not?
Yeah. I don't know. I think I liked the game more than you did, but.
I thought you would.
Then, yeah, you think because it's more of my type of game.
It's more your type of game because it's like a fuck around game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you like to fuck around in those games, and I'm always trying to get it. I'm always trying to get to the end as fast as possible. unless I'm really taken by it and really enjoying my time. But I mean, like in a normal context where I wasn't playing it for a podcast, it would be a game that I wouldn't finish.
Yeah, you just stop playing.
It. Yeah, I would just stop playing, which I do many times with many games. So there is a certain type of player where they would be into this if they like the art style and they like the mood of the whole thing and the music. They could hang out in this game and probably have an okay time. I think they'll have a better time at Trials of Mana no matter who the player is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that. Do you have any other thing to say about the game?
Not really. I mean, if you own it, I guess you can give it a try, and if it feels like it's your thing, then go for it. But
I don't know if picking up that remaster is gonna. I don't know if the remaster is really gonna change anything.
Yeah, I would be surprised.
I would be surprised. Yeah, I would be surprised. I agree. I would be surprised.
Yeah.
So yeah, Schweiss, where would you rank this in the Mana series? All 4 games right now. That's Final Fantasy Adventure, Secret of Mana, Trials of Mana, and Legend of Mana.
Man. I think, man, I don't know. I don't know if I want to put it last or if I want to put it above Final Fantasy Adventure. Because it's not better than Secret. It's definitely not better than Trials. It's definitely not better than, I guess those are it. Secret, Trials, and Adventure.
So is it better than Adventure or not in your mind, Schweiss? What did you have a better time with?
I think I'll put it right below Adventure. I think I'll put it as the worst one.
Yeah, that's where I'm gonna put it too. I think it's clearly not as good as Final Fantasy Adventure, which is a fun game. Like it's just a little Zelda ripoff title, and I enjoyed my time. It has a wonderful soundtrack. They both do actually. But no, I had way more fun in Final Fantasy Adventure than in Legend of Mana. I think on many technical levels, Legend of Mana is better. Graphics and stuff.
Yeah.
And probably what did you call that? The attack?
The hitbox.
The hitbox. And probably the hitbox. And kind of the artistry and ingenuity behind the game. But I had more fun in Final Fantasy Adventure.
Yeah. And neither of them have a really compelling story, so which is, it's weird because most of the games we've played for the show have been JRPGs, which are known for their intricate storylines. And yeah, there's a bunch of them in the Mana series that don't really have that. So
yeah, so I had I can't remember where I read it, but I basically had little inklings that this was going to be like the quality drop in the Mana series.
Yeah.
Legend of Mana. Yeah, when I was looking around, and I was surprised because I always saw it on the shelf, and I was like, oh my God, look at the artwork. It looks like it's just like a really extensive, wonderful Square game to me. I don't know. That's how I saw it.
Yeah, that's why I picked it up.
How could it possibly be? There you go. How could it possibly be the bad Mana game? And it was.
Yeah.
So far, we do have a couple left. We got Children of Mana. We got Dawn of Mana. And we got Heroes of Mana coming up next. The next one we will not be able to stream is called Children of Mana. And it is on the DS.
Is it?
It is.
No, it's a good thing I have oh, wait, what's that? I don't have my DS anymore. So
what happened, Schweiss? What do you mean you don't have your DS anymore?
So this morning, my wife wakes me up from my hangover with, she's like, hey, did you go through the car last night? Like, did you go out there after you were drinking and like go through a bunch of stuff? And I was like, no. And she's like, well, our car got broken into last night and your game is gone. And it was the DS that I wasn't using. I hadn't started the game. I don't like to start the next game before we review the last game. It's a thing I like to do for this show, at the very least. No other games, just have the one. And so I hadn't started it yet. I just brought it with me. Like, maybe I'll throw a couple hours on, or like a couple minutes at work. Who knows? But it's gone. Somebody fucking broke into my car, opened the door, I guess, and then took my game. And they ravaged through all my shit. They took my wife's lanyard for her keys, but not the keys. They could have stolen her car.
She left her car keys in the car?
I left her car keys in the car because the other day we were both out. We went out to eat, and I had the keys because she was in the car already, and I had to lock the door. So all we have is the deadbolt on the front, and so I took the keys. And they were in there, and they took their lanyard to the key. Like, it's gone. Yeah, I just have the keys now. And I'm like,
that's freaky.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why did they take the lanyard?
I don't fucking know,
What was on the lanyard?
Dude, it was just like a Disney princess lanyard. It was like old as fuck, too.
Are they like trying to fuck with you? Like, I'm taking your DS and I'm going to, look, I almost took your car.
I guess.
Is it to teach you a lesson?
Maybe. I'm going to teach them a fucking lesson if I find out who it is, though. I'm going to scour the online, like, sellers community and find that motherfucker. So it has it's distinct because it's the Mario, like, I don't know how many year edition, a 3DS XL. It's got like a little I voted sticker on it that's almost fallen off. They'll probably get rid of that. And it's in a Final Fantasy Adventure. Final Fantasy Explorer's case. And it has Children of Mana in it, a game that no one gives a fuck about.
Oh,
so
I
like,
gotta get that game again.
if I know I've got to fucking get it too now. Because it's gone. It's gone, man. This fucker. And, oh, man, my neighbor has a fucking little Ring camera thing, and, like, it was just out of range for this little son of a bitch that came by and ravaged my fucking car.
Does your HOA not have a...
No. The lights were probably not even working on these useless fuckers. But, yeah, somebody stole my thing, man. Somebody stole my fucking DS, and I'm very angry about it.
I know.
Like, the more I think about it, the more mad I get.
I came over here and you're like, yeah, I look pissed all day because I've been looking for a DS. I could feel it. I could feel your anger ruminating off of you.
It's not as frustrating as the PSP when it went missing. I found that, though. That came back to me. This one, it's only going to come back to me. I'm kind of worried that I'm going to find the person and then like, hey, I'll come buy it from you. And then I'm just going to like try to kick his ass. I'm afraid that I'm going to go nuts if I find it. So part of me is like, well, it's not that big of a deal. And, I shouldn't have left it in the car. And I know it's not my fault for leaving it in the car, but I know better than to do that. And I know other people's cars have been broken into and shit's been stolen around here. And I know there's a fucking trailer park right there. There's fucking poor people. No, I'm kidding. But like, there's been crime, little break-ins like that before, and I should have known better. I should have known. Just don't leave it in there. And then that's the reason why I leave my car unlocked. It's because I don't want anybody bashing my fucking window in.
Just like, go ahead and take it. Go ahead and clean my car for me.
Yeah, there's nothing in there. Yeah, usually, but this time there was, and it was the DS and the fucking lanyard for some fucking reason. I don't know.
That's creep. The lanyard's creeping me out. Like, I get the 3DS, but why take the lanyard?
Yeah.
And then so there's two thoughts going on with that. One is, look, I could have stolen the car, idiot. Why'd you leave the car unlocked with the keys inside?
I wish they would have, because then I would have got the 3DS back when I got the car back.
Maybe.
It's a lot easier to find the car, I would
assume. Yeah, maybe. Then you would have been really pissed for today.
Oh, today wouldn't be happening like this if the car was gone.
So I'm wondering what's going through their mind, though, is why they took the lanyard. That's
I don't know.
Freaky.
I don't fucking know, but I know my foot's going to go up their ass if I find them. I am so, it's so upsetting to me. It's ridiculous. It's like I don't really usually have it on me like that. I don't leave it in the car. I've left them in the car a couple times here and there, like the Switch and the DS, and it's never been a problem before. And but I know better, so I'm upset at myself. But I'm also upset at this fucker that took my stuff. It's ridiculous. Like, I shouldn't have to worry about that kind of shit. And everyone, I always look at the people that have the Ring camera. I was like, oh, they're just a little bit paranoid. But now I'm like, fuck, maybe I should get one too. If people are going to be breaking into my shit.
Someone broke in to our place in Los Angeles. I think I've said the story on this pod before. Took $10,000 worth of shit.
Mm-hmm.
So it was grand theft. We had security camera footage of the guy.
Doesn't matter.
Didn't matter.
Yeah.
They couldn't find him. Didn't know who he was.
And that's the thing. Yeah. Even if I had the camera, we're probably not going to know who this fucking guy is. So would it even matter? I don't know. Maybe. If I would have if I get it, I'm that notification is going to slap and I'm going to wake up and I fucking just come bursting out the door with my gun in my hand. Like, hi. Fucking God, dude, it's so ridiculous, though. God, this fucker. But yeah, it's if I had the camera and it was just the footage of the guy, it wouldn't matter. You'd
just be like, okay, I'll just look out for that guy.
Yeah. If I see that guy, I'm going to fucking run him down. But I don't know, man. And it's I want to keep an eye on the Facebook marketplace is what I've been watching, KSL, and I've called all the pawn shops and the game stores, and none of them have one. And so now I'm just biding my time waiting for this prick to sell it. Unless he keeps it. If he keeps it, I'm done.
Yeah.
If he keeps it, it's over. I'm never going to see it again.
So what we did for a month after, we would just call all the pawn shops. Do you have this item? How about this item?
Yeah.
There are very specific items I'm looking for right now.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to let the pawn shop know that you're looking for someone who stole their shit.
Yeah. Until you find it, and then I'll let them know. It's hey, why don't you pull up some camera footage for me, and we'll find this guy. See what he looks like.
So, yeah. Sorry about your loss.
Dude.
Guess we got to get you another DS. And we'll get you a 2DS. That's the one you wanted anyway, right?
Yeah. It's $80 is what I spent on it. And which is a great deal. Years ago, just my roommate's brother sold it to me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's a great deal." And it's a great little system. So I'm genuinely angry at this being gone. Every time I try to talk myself off the ledge of rage, I just think about now I have to buy another used 3DS from someone else for a lot more money, and it fucking angers me. There's a guy in Cedar City that's selling one for $100, and I messaged him. And I was like, what does it look like? Because it was it listed a day ago. And I was like, what's it look like, pal? And then he's like, oh, it's just silver. And I'm like, oh, silver? And then
it
he's
would have been today, Schweiss.
Yeah, that's
if
true.
If he had gotten it this morning.
And then he's like, yeah, it's silver and it's this. And I was like, oh, okay, it's not the Mario one. Well, let me get back to you. I'm going to try to decide what I'm going to do.
Let me get back to you on that.
Yeah. If it were mine, I'd tell you to come meet me up here and I'll give you the money in person.
I don't think he would meet you back at the house that he stole it from.
No, I would have him meet it somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
I'd be like, hey, we should meet at the Walmart. And then I envisioned just kicking the person's ass and then just dropping the money on their sprawled out body.
You kick the person's ass, open up the DS and see other save files that aren't yours and realize that it was just the same type of DS that you shouldn't have kicked.
Yeah. Like, where's Children of Mana? Like, I told you it was Mario. Fuck. Now I'm going to have to find someone else and kick their ass. Yeah. Where's the Mana game? Where the fuck is Children of Mana? I don't know what you're talking about.
No one knows what that game is.
What is that? This is just my kid's DS. He went on a mission. I don't know what Mana is. Oh, man. God, it's... Fuck, I'm going to have to scour and... it's frustrating because I don't want to do that. I don't want to take the time to find it, but, like, I have to. It's like the fucking trying to buy a PS5 thing. It's like I could sit around all day and keep refreshing until I get one, but I have shit to do. And again, I've got shit to do.
It kills me. I have so much money right now, and I just have like an influx of money. And believe me, I'm so bad with money. All I want to do is spend it. And I'm like, please God, where's the PS5s?
I know.
Where are they? I want one.
We got the money,
but
for
I can't have one.
I got the money. Now I can't buy it if I got to buy a fucking 3DS again. Oh, fuck.
You can buy a 2DS.
No, it looks like it came out of a Happy Meal. Okay, I hate it, and I love it. It's like someone's like, "Oh, well, it should be more durable." I'm like, "Yeah, if it weren't made of like 10-cent plastic."
Talking
sure.
about the Discord conversation.
Yeah.
So I posted my picture of Children of Mana on top of my DS. I'm like, ready to go. You know, psyching the 5 people up.
Yeah.
And then Abrek, I think, responded with like, "Oh, I see you got the Fisher Price model."
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck did Schweiss talk to you about? Like putting that jab into this fucking Discord chat? Is that what happened?
Make fun of Joe for his shitty DS. Oh, I got.
I'm sick of always having that thing or always talking about it 2DS, and he's like, "Nah, it looks retarded."
It does. It looks cheap. It looks so cheap. And then someone's like, "Oh, well, it's more durable." I'm like, how? In what world?
Because there's no hinge on it, Schweiss.
Yeah, there's no fucking hinge, but it's like 9 inches long. Well, where are you gonna put it?
I'll tell you what it was for me. It was $40 cheaper.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah, well, mine was cheaper than that, and it's fucking gone now. I guess that's what I get for making fun of your Happy Meal fucking...
Yeah, it was me. I came into your car last night and took it away, and I was like, Schweiss, you shouldn't leave your keys in the car that I could rob from, idiot. I'll just take the lantern and creep you out.
Yeah, I guess. That's what I get for making fun of you, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
fuck.
that is. It really is.
I'm not going to buy a 2DS, though. I might buy the new 3DS XL. I don't know why they got to keep adding fucking shit to the name.
Is that just called a Switch or what?
Yeah. No, I think it has like a little nub.
It would be nice if they added those ports to a Switch, called it like the Switch XL.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Get like a little attachment.
They get a little Switch Retro on there.
Get a little attachment you can throw on your DS games, DS, 2DS, 3DS, all of it.
That would only be awesome.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it, Nintendo?
Yeah.
You hearing it?
Dude, oh, man. It's... God, I'm going to have to buy the game again, too. And DS games are getting expensive as fuck. I'm going to get out of here and find this person. I'm going to find him. I got to get it back, man. I just want it. It's mine. It's mine. I just want it back.
Stay tuned next time to see if Schweiss gets it back on our Children of Mana review.
Yeah.
We also have a couple of... I believe we've been sent some mobile reviews in the email.
We've got 2 mobile reviews.
We've got 2 to put out.
Yeah.
One of which has been waiting for many, many months.
Yep.
So anyway, you'll probably get those or one of those before Children of Mana comes out. So I hope you enjoy that. If you have played Children of Mana, this is not a game I have ever heard of in my life.
Yeah.
So my God, if you're listening to this and you've never reached out to us at all, this is your time to reach out. If you have played Children of Mana and you have opinions, or if you have questions on Children of Mana, whether or not you've played it, please send those to fffanatics123@gmail.com. Please, God. Like if you're thinking, should I? Like if you're in the car driving around listening to the show and you're like, I've played Children of Mana, and you're thinking that, please, God, send that email. And I hope to hear from you. Otherwise, we'll put some stuff in the Discord, and I'll put some stuff on Twitter before the before the review comes out. So anyways, guys, join the Discord. It's basically our forum replacement. I think it's even better than our forums. And the link to that can be found on our Twitters, as well as the link in the description of the episode. You can just click on that and join the Discord right there. You can tweet me at Joseph DeGolier.
Me at UFF Podcast.
And make sure to check out our other show, Nude Clan, of which I am back as a permanent host. So if you guys were like really mad about me leaving a year and a half ago, more than that, holy shit, never mind. It's been longer than that. I'm back. I'm back for Nude Clan for the foreseeable future. So come on and get back and play some games with the Nude Clan. And if you want to hear me and Drew talk about the new Godzilla film, you can also go to the Godzilla podcast. And Schweiss, what do you got?
For a few chickens more, Song of Schweiss and Johnson. If you guys are still interested in Game of Thrones, it's a podcast I did with my buddy James. We've got Puff Puff Hour, a Dragon Quest podcast. We have super sexy swinging fan fiction for all your erotica needs. We also have Getting Fat with Caleb and Joe. Had a nice Joe Christmas special.
Did.
A little while ago. That was a good episode.
Thank you.
And yeah, check those out. I mean, we got a lot of podcasts for you guys.
We got a lot of pods, bruh.
We do. We got more in the pipeline, but we got some mana. We got some DSs to find before we fucking get to those.
The DS is defined and some manas to plays.
Yeah, so stay tuned for more. And until next time, guys, enjoy the grind.